All right, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Danielle. I am the community manager for the Cabarrus Center, which is managed by Flywheel Coworking. And we are located in downtown Concord, right on Union Street in the old Cabarrus Bank. So if you're in town, stop by between 8:30 and 5:30 and come check out the new space that just opened. But welcome to our Indeavor Luncheon. Our Indeavor Luncheons are going to take place monthly on the third Wednesday of the week. Right now we have them scheduled virtually, but we will be adapting into the hybrid model. So we'll look to have our speakers and a few folks join us in person, and then we'll still be able to broadcast it virtually for folks to see. We do record our Indeavor Luncheons. That way everyone can take a look back at what took place within conversation and if they missed it or weren't able to attend. So the Indeavor Luncheons allow you to connect with the community by engaging in a conversation over lunchtime with a community leader. And today we have Irene Sacks joining us, and I'll introduce Irene momentarily. But first we're gonna go through and just see who we have with us. We'll do a quick introduction. If you wouldn't mind sharing who you are. And then also, could you share with me how you heard about this event, just so we can see where our efforts are working here with our marketing. So we'll start with Holly.
Hey guys, it's Holly Sloop. I'm the Downtown Development Specialist with the City of Concord, formerly with CDDC, which was the nonprofit arm. And I don't have my camera on because I'm stuffing my face. So thank you guys for doing this today. Oh, and I heard about it through you, Danielle.
Holly. Gail.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I think I heard it from you, Danielle, on the meeting today through your email, so I appreciate that. And I'm sorry, was I supposed to introduce myself?
Just an introduction of who you are.
I'm Gail Lovely. I'm with the Cabarrus County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I'm Vice President of Partnership and Visitor Services. And I'm currently not visible because I'm in the visitor center. We've gone from 21 employees to 10. So I oversee the center. I'm out here for another hour. So just didn't want to interrupt the meeting. So thank you.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Marjorie.
Hi, I'm Marjorie Brown. I'm an elder law attorney here in Concord. I'm also on the Chamber Board of Directors. And how I heard about this was emails. So that's why I'm here. And I can't remember who it was, Gail. I'm gonna put this back off because this is my lunchtime, so you won't have to see me eating. So.
Paige.
Hey everybody, I'm Paige Castrodale. I'm the Executive Director with Cabarrus Economic Development. And I think I heard about the event from the screens in the social comments here at the Cabarrus Center. And I've got Samantha Grass is in here with me. We're sharing a screen right now.
Hey everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Lauren.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lauren Linker. I'm the clerk to the Board of Commissioners for Cabarrus County, and I'm pretty sure I got an email from Danielle about it, so I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Lauren. Aubrey.
Hey, everyone. Aubrey Yaboa here. I am the co-founder of Battery Exchange. We have a startup based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I heard of the program through the Flywheel cohort. So I finished the cohort last week, Tuesday. So I'm here, listening in to see what we can learn today.
Great, thanks, Aubrey. We've got Peter on here, but I don't know if Peter's going to be able to introduce himself. He's on his commute right now. He's heading from our Winston location down to our Concord location here. Peter's the co-founder of Flywheel Coworking, and I'm sure if you've been on any of our events or heard anything about Flywheel, you've probably heard Peter speak. So if you're interested in anything to do with Flywheel, Peter is definitely your go-to person there. And then I believe the last person we have on here is Edward. I don't know if Edward has the chance to introduce himself or not.
Yes, my name is Edward Anthony, and I just finished, like Audrey said, last Tuesday through the Flywheel course. Looking to make a difference here in Cabarrus County with my company, which is indoor air quality. Looking forward to seeing what's being offered, and I'm excited about it. Thank you. I heard about it through the Flywheel.
Great, thanks so much, Edward. All right, and last but not least is Irene. Irene Sacks has been the Economic and Community Development Director for the City of Kannapolis since 2008. She works to attract business activity and to develop and maximize key investments. She's been very involved in the city's revitalization and redevelopment of the downtown area. Irene also works to facilitate the growth of the North Carolina Research Campus, which is a research campus focused on human health, nutrition, and agriculture. Her career has included positions in strategic planning, software development, and finance. She's a certified economic developer and received her bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the California Institute of Technology and her master's in city and regional planning from Georgia Institute of Technology. Wow, Irene, that is a fantastic bio, and I am very much looking forward to hearing what you have today. I'm going to let you kick it off, and then we can allow questions throughout, but Irene, take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Danielle. Well, I guess, I know about half of you, and then I'm excited to hear from and speak to some new names and faces. Hopefully that, I don't know how much you all know about what's going on in the city of Kannapolis, but I thought I'd give an update both on what's going on with downtown and the business activity there, and also just development around the entire city. We get a lot of questions about that and what kind of growth is coming, and that may help some of the entrepreneurs kind of plan from a market's perspective, what to expect. So feel free again to jump in with any questions or anything like that. I do have a slide deck, mostly with just images of what the downtown looks like in case you haven't had a chance to go through that yet. It's really quite a place and quite different from what it was just a couple of years ago. And while I'm pulling this up, I can give you just a tad bit of background in case you haven't, oh, hang on. I need to do share screen. Okay, I can do this. The City of Kannapolis, and can you see the slides?
Yes, we can see them.
Okay, thanks. So we purchased the entire downtown area in 2015 with the goal of revitalizing it, bringing it back to life, did a master plan and all that. And really, we move forward with the idea of spending public funds and trying to leverage that to attract private investment. Our downtown at that time lacked critical mass because there weren't a lot of people working in the area with the closing of the mill, and also the research campus hasn't replaced the number of people who used to work in the downtown area in terms of just the sheer quantity. And we don't have that many residences right now in downtown. So that was an area we knew we needed to grow. So I'm going to go through a couple of the projects that we've completed. And, when I think back on it, we completed these projects. Well, we started them prior to the pandemic, but really they were completed and opened in the pandemic. So it's kind of a fascinating thing that, that we, and particularly the businesses, have been as successful as they are so far, given the circumstances that we're all dealing with. One of the big projects that we sought out to do as a city was completely redo the streetscape and infrastructure in the heart of the downtown, which was West Avenue. We basically converted it to a linear park with a goal of creating these areas, which used to be parking spaces, quite frankly, and roads. We cut the vehicle area in half and converted the other half of what used to be for cars to pedestrian areas and gathering areas for people. So, you know, when it opened late 2019, you know, we had a big celebration pre-COVID, of course, and people flocked to downtown because there hadn't been this energy in so long. So it's been very popular just for areas where people can sit, you know, eat ice cream or visit the new bakery. There are water features where kids play in the summertime, and just basically a place to walk and hang out. So it's designed for that, and it's designed to create sort of a gathering space for the community. And so that has proved to be very popular. You'll see people walking around all hours, whether it's for exercise or just to get out of the house, quite frankly. So I think, you know, this past year has proved that people still need and want places to be even within the pandemic. The other big project that the city completed, of course, was the Atrium Health Ballpark. This was the relocation of the Kannapolis Intimidator Stadium from where it was at exit 63 to downtown, and to help kick off or be one of the catalysts for the downtown revitalization. That too opened in the pandemic and has not seen a game yet because of COVID, but still it's been open to the public as essentially a public park. It has a 360-degree concourse, which allows you to walk all the way around the concourse on the concrete area. And so, you know, you'll see people rollerblading, riding their bikes, walking around in the back area. I'll show you this picture. There is this climbing structure that kids flock to. We were there a couple weeks ago with our, walking around with our kids, and we couldn't even, I mean, I didn't let my kids get on the climbing structure because it was so crowded and there were too many kids. So it's been very popular as, you know, another place for the kids to get out and about. And it was designed differently than the old ball stadium in that there's, I guess, you know, the idea is you go to the game, but not really to watch baseball necessarily, but to hang out with your friends or coworkers or whoever you go to the game with. And so there are different types of seating options and gathering areas. And the focus is on the total fan experience. So you can walk around while you're watching the game. There's going to be other types of events there other than baseball. Eventually, when we can do so, we'll, you know, there'll be concerts and festivals and things like that at the stadium. And the team, of course, renamed themselves to the Kannapolis Cannonballers. And they've had a lot of support over the last year or so, you know, drumming up ticket sales and so forth. So finally in May, they will be allowed to have their first season, which is very exciting. And so they are selling tickets for that. And then next week, I think it's Tuesday the 23rd, UNC Charlotte and App State are going to play the first baseball game at Atrium Health Ballpark as a collegiate game. And that'll be the first one here in Kannapolis. So finally, you know, we're able to get a little bit of activity in our downtown as it was meant to, you know, for what it was built for. So we're really excited about that. And then another big, well, important to the community is the Gem Theater, of course. That's our historic movie theater, single screen. We have started the first phase of a restoration process, which involves redoing that marquee sign that you see in the picture there. It is in need of some rehab, and also expanding the bathrooms to be handicap accessible and putting them on the first floor. So that's quite an expensive undertaking, but it needed to be done, and will serve the theater well into the future. And we're also replacing the HVAC system, which was old and also in bad need of overhaul. So currently the Gem Theater is closed for that project and should reopen by summer. Hopefully by the time, some of the, to allow people to come back to movie theaters. So roughly around summertime. And to give you this aerial just gives you an overview of the different projects that are going on in downtown. And particularly, I'll get more into the private sector ones. But the things I wanted to point out here, in front of the baseball stadium, there are 2 blocks of basically cleared land. They used to be older buildings, but we cleared them for development because the buildings couldn't quite be saved. Next to that, and I'll mention that in a little bit, is the old Swanny Theater, which is going to be restored. And then I talked about the Gem Theater that is on the other side of the block. But essentially we have sold the whole left side of the screen to a single developer, Lansing Melbourne Group. They're the ones who are going to be building have built the Vita Apartments that are opening next month. So just wanted to kind of give you an overview of the layout of downtown, what that looks like. So Vita is the name of the mixed use project that is the first private investment in the downtown area. And we consider that to be our catalyst project to really kick off additional private investment. It's 6 stories, almost 300 units of apartments, and some new retail and restaurant space on the first floor. The city's contribution is a 400 space parking deck in the middle of the development. And that would serve not just this apartment complex, but also for public parking for general purposes for downtown. So it does have a public benefit as well. So this is an older rendering it's a rendering of what it's supposed to look like once completed. And you see in the middle there of the apartments, there's an amenity deck for the apartment users or residents, with a pool and patio area, things like that. And behind, so in front here are existing buildings, and that's where the new brewery sits, the first brewery in Kannapolis, Old Armor. And then behind that, that'll be phase 2 of the apartments, where they'll build an additional 60 units of multifamily, probably starting this summer sometime. More multifamily to come. And this is a recent aerial as of February, showing the apartments nearing completion. And I don't know if there's a more recent one, but yeah, essentially they're getting close, and people should be moving in, I would presume, by early April or so. So this is just a look at the inside of them. The studios are selling out, which is an interesting thing to us. I guess that indicates, both from a demographic standpoint, that probably younger people and either singles or maybe couples are moving in, as opposed to larger households. But we'll see how they lease up. From what I understand, they're leasing up quickly, and yeah, the studios are the more popular units. So I mentioned that the city had sold all the blocks along the left side of West Avenue to Lansing Melbourne Group. They have essentially purchased these buildings and renovated a lot of these buildings, which if you had ever been into into the buildings before they were old and really in need of some TLC and rehab. So it's quite an undertaking to renovate and redevelop some of these older spaces. But they have been very, very popular with local businesses so far. So that's on the West Avenue side of the blocks. There have been 25 new businesses to open in 2020 in the pandemic, and there's more to come. So the developer is in the process of renovating additional retail spaces in these buildings and hasn't quite finished, but they've got a waiting list of businesses that have inquired and are interested in located here. So it's really exciting to see the level of energy. And it's, you know, it's a mix from bike store to salons to boutiques. So, you know, things that you might have thought, oh, you know, we're at the end of retail, but not necessarily. I mean, there's these stores have a lot of support. A lot of them are not necessarily new business owners. They are, this is either their second location or it's a relocation for them. So they have, you know, their experience that they bring with them, which is, I'm sure, very helpful. And the other thing they've done, the more successful ones, is they've built a social media following completely separate from their location in downtown Kannapolis. You know, they're not relying on the location to be the driver of their business necessarily. They are using a lot of social media outreach to reach their customers. And, you know, if Old Armor is one example, they're heavy users of social media. And so is 3 Gems. It's a women's boutique clothing store. They have a huge TikTok following. And so, you know, I guess these local businesses are able to do some online sales and attract some followers through that. So that's been a big way that they've been able to be successful. And then we have just closed or sold the property, which is the former Plant 4 site of the mill, to a developer, and the builder is going to be Tri-Point Homes. So they're going to put up 128 townhomes on this site. It'll be the first for sale product in downtown, which is exciting to have that option because we've had a lot of requests from, I guess, you know, people looking to downsize, people looking to retire, and, you know, other people who want to live in downtown or near downtown Kannapolis, but don't want to rent or don't necessarily want to rent in a large complex. So this will help meet that demand or that market for people who want to own townhomes. We would expect that to break ground sometime next year, with units being available, the first units being available in early 2022. And then I had mentioned the Swanny Theater. So that used to be an old single screen theater in Kannapolis that was constructed and operated by Cannon Mills. It closed for quite a while, was opened as a visitor center for quite a while. So the operating group includes the same developer who's doing the apartments, as well as another operator. They have basically proposed purchasing the building from the city and opening it to be a live music venue. So we're excited about that because we haven't had that kind of offering in Kannapolis in some time. And one of the operators has some experience from Florida connecting with bands and things like that. So that will add some nightlife opportunities to the downtown Kannapolis, which you know, will go pretty well with complement what's already there. So we're excited to see that happen too. And then I mentioned the development pads in front of the baseball stadium. Those are in negotiation at the moment, but essentially what's proposed for those sites are loft apartments, you know, bigger and more upper scale than what's proposed with Vita. Also, they would serve as the retail location for the Cannonballers team. So they have a team store there and their offices. And then a section of that would also be in the future, you know, timing to be determined based on the market, of course, but potentially a hotel. So this is what it would look like from the street view. And what you're looking at there is the entrance into the baseball stadium. So, you know, you go from downtown right into the baseball stadium with the development overlooking it. So I mentioned the ballpark block, and then, and I also mentioned the second phase of Vita, 60 to 80 units. The other block that would represent future development in downtown is right here. It's where the, we call it block 6, but it's essentially a parking lot where Wells Fargo used to be and the team currently uses for their team offices. But what could fit there is essentially 200 to 300 units of additional apartments and with, you know, mixed use for retail on the first floor and so forth. And it seems like there's a lot of, you know, you might look at this and see, wow, do we really need that many apartments in downtown? But, you know, multifamily is really strong right now in the whole region. And we do need that level of density to support the business activity for downtown. So, you know, if we want downtown to be a thriving business district, we need people. And that's either people who work in downtown or near downtown at the research campus or elsewhere, or they live in downtown or near downtown and are able to walk, walk or, you know, quickly drive over and support the businesses here. And that is what's going to help create a sustainable and thriving downtown over the long term. So that's all I had for downtown. Are there any questions before I wanted to show you guys a development map for all of Kannapolis, but let me break quickly and see if anyone wanted to make any comments or questions.
Yes, I had a quick question, Irene. Would you be able to share this deck with us?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because we have a startup that we see a lot of potential with the development happening in Kannapolis. I don't know if you know, but we have these kiosk machines that have digital screens on it, and it comes equipped with portable battery chargers. So I can see a lot of people engaging with our product at these various locations, utilizing our battery to stay connected at the ballpark, especially at the movie theater that's going to be opening in the train station. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here that you guys are building on. So I'm really enjoying this.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to get the slide deck to Danielle and you know, distribute it, whatever's easiest. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to switch over to our development map. So this link, by the way, and I can send that to, let me put it in the chat box quickly. All right, I may have to do that later. I'll put it in the chat box later, but it's the link to the development map for downtown, for Kannapolis. The planning department maintains this and tries to keep it updated on a somewhat regular basis. Oops. Uh-oh. I don't know why it went. Let me try this again. Okay, now it looks normal. So as you can see from the legend in the corner there of the screen, purple.
We're still seeing your slide.
Oh, is it still showing the slide?
Yes.
Okay, I need to go back. hold on. New share. There we go. Is that better? You see a map?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, so this, you know, the scale you're seeing right now is the downtown area. Blue is either single family or townhome type development. Green is multifamily. Red is mixed use, and then purple is general commercial. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just give you guys a flavor of some of the big projects that are coming to Kannapolis. I'll start in the north with Kannapolis Crossing. So it's right along the I-85 corridor, and it's this red development up at the top of the screen. It is at the new interchange, exit 65 off of I-85. So that's a new interchange. The developer knew that it was going to be a new interchange, and that, you know, interchanges aren't made very frequently anymore. So that was a valuable property for them. So what's proposed, the city ended up, you know, it's quite far away, as you might notice from the core of Kannapolis. We ended up annexing the property. So it is in the city of Kannapolis now, but it's not contiguous to the city borders where they typically are. We are planning to extend utilities, water and sewer, out to the site to serve the site, and in exchange for, you know, some expected level of development. And what's proposed there now is based on the you know, the amount of land that's out there, a mix of commercial, some office uses, and different types of residential that could be multifamily as well as single family. And then there is supposed to be a portion of that that will be industrial, probably like, you know, light distribution or light industrial distribution type buildings, that sort of thing. So that's, you know, nothing's set in stone yet. That's still in the planning phase, but that is a big project that will be coming and add to the growth in Kannapolis. I'm gonna pan down a little bit, and so you can see, let me scroll out just a tad. So Kannapolis goes all the way to the Mecklenburg County line on the left here, where you see some of the blue residential subdivisions out past the Cottle Creek Reservoir. Those are also part of the city of Kannapolis. So there's quite a bit of residential activity out there, which is off of Highway 73. The other area that has seen quite a bit of growth lately is Kannapolis Parkway. So that's the center of the screen here, leading up from exit 54, which is, you know, off of I-85, which is the Kannapolis Parkway, George Lyles Parkway interchange. So that goes straight up north towards Highway 3. And along that corridor, we've seen a decent amount of industrial development, with more recently Prime Beverage going in just north of Highway 73. And then quite a bit of residential as well, both a combination of single family like this Austin Corners here, and then also a lot of multifamily. So just north of 73, there's some new multifamily going in called the Cottle Creek Apartments. And then also at Rogers Lake Road, there's a bunch of multifamily going in. Argento at Kellswater at the corner of Rogers Lake Road. You're seeing, if you ever drive up in that direction, that land is being cleared for almost 300 units of apartments. And just north of there, our planning department approved, or our Board of Adjustment, which is part of the planning and zoning process, they approved rezoning for land right around here for another almost 200 units of apartments to be built. So that's, you know, that's still in the planning phases, but it was rezoned for that. So there's quite a bit of multifamily interest in the Kannapolis area. This red large red area on the bottom left here, Mill Creek Crossing Commercial. That's actually, I mean, because it's such a large parcel, it has a little bit of everything planned for it, including some industrial uses, single family, townhomes, apartments, regular commercial property, basically a little bit of everything in there. And that was also approved for rezoning this past week. So there's quite a bit of development activity, as I mentioned, along this Kannapolis Parkway corridor. Our planning department mentioned that they have 7,400 residential units under review or that have been approved. So, you know, as a community, we're growing and adding people all the time. It's, you know, I've been asked the question, where do these people, you know, why are they coming here, where do they work? And I think it's a combination of, yes, you know, some people move here and work in Charlotte. I think a lot of them work locally or from home as well. So it's a mix of, you know, all different demographics and types of housing and reasons why people are here. So, but, you know, overall residential growth has still continued over the last year. Builders are still building, so there's still strong demand for growth here in Kannapolis. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? Or any other development or project in Kannapolis?
I have a quick question, it's Marjorie. Are there going to be any developments that are going to be built? I saw the townhouses and everything that are going to be senior related, because, you know, townhouses are great, but seniors and climbing stairs is a problem. So I know that Charlotte has some, you know, over 55 communities that are all one story. Is there going to be anything like that?
Yes. If you can see on the map, can you see my cursor? I don't know if
yes.
Okay. So this here, Redwood Kannapolis Parkway, that is, I believe it's age 55. I'm not exactly sure of the year, but the age, sorry. But it is an age restricted apartment. You know, they're apartment or single story rental unit developers. They also have built some, I think, farther south on George Lowes Parkway as well. And
if they were the same ones that built those on George Lowes Parkway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're the same people.
So those are rentals only, not purchase, but just rental.
Correct. So so there's that. There is, I don't know if it's on this. There have been some age restricted, so senior rental units at the for affordable housing, like low income housing tax credit project. New housing at the, it's called, what is it called? Prosperity Ridge Senior Housing, and that's on off of Little Texas Road.
Yeah, it's right next to the church. Yeah, so there's that one. But I'm just thinking about just housing for older adults that's not rented, that they could purchase, because, you know, we have people who would like to, you know, downsize into something that is one story, but they don't want to rent. So I didn't know. And I saw the townhouses. I'm assuming those are for sale, but there's not going to be anything purchase wise. It's going to be single story senior.
So the townhouses that will be in Kannapolis, we asked the developer to consider the, as you mentioned, the retiree market and aging population. Those townhouses, even though they'll be they'll all be 2-story, some of them will have the master bedroom on the first floor, and at least that eliminates the need for the, you know, primary resident to climb stairs. So we did ask them to incorporate those type of units into their plan for that reason.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hey, Irene, this is Peter.
Hey, Peter.
it's just amazing how much is going on. So congratulations for the level of development that's being stimulated. Can you talk to us a little bit about the schools and, you know, how is that supporting the overall progress of development? With that, it's going in. It seems like tell us about that.
Well, and you know, others on the line may know more than I do, but so Kannapolis is covered by two schools, well, really three school systems. On the north side, some of Kannapolis is covered by the Rowan-Salisbury School District. The core area of central area of Kannapolis is covered by the Kannapolis City School District. And then the western side, like all this stuff you see on Kannapolis Parkway where the new development projects are, and all the subdivisions out to the west, those are covered by the Cabarrus County School District. And Cabarrus County School District is seeing the most growth in terms of new residential development. And yes, they have a challenge in terms of meeting the need for, you know, to respond to all these residential properties that are coming online, both in Kannapolis and in Concord. So they've been in, you know, massive planning mode and trying to figure out where new schools will go and how to fund them and all of that. So it's definitely on the radar screen, and it is definitely something that, you know, they're planning for.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit, Irene, about the Food Innovation Lab and NCRC and how that kind of fits into the developmental puzzle?
Yeah, well, I'll scroll down a little bit.
You may have covered that when I was at.
So the research campus property, there isn't a whole lot of space within the university buildings right now for new companies to come in. And, you know, each of the, there's 8 universities, state and private universities at the research campus that have their research and development functions here. Within the core lab, which is this building here, there is some space and capacity for new startups and businesses to come in. So in terms of businesses that might have some kind of connection to the food or ag, health related research fields, there is capacity for some of these new businesses to come in. And then the research campus itself owns a ton of this undeveloped property on the north side of the campus, which you know, has the opportunity to become something else. What that something else will be remains to be determined, I think. You know, there have been various things proposed over the years, but essentially that's an open question for development, depending on, you know, so there are opportunities here for future growth. And then the Food Innovation Lab sits inside of the core laboratory here, and is meant to serve startup food companies, not just in Kannapolis, but throughout the region and even throughout the state, as it's, you know, supported by state funds to bring their product development up to scale pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're getting quite a lot of interest in those knowledge assets on the work that we're kind of preparing and priming through the Cabarrus Center.
Good.
Irene, I have a question about the downtown area.
Yeah.
Are all of the businesses open during the week, or do you generally see, you know, Wednesday through Sunday? What's the schedule look like for the businesses that are in the downtown area?
It varies. And that's a challenge for a lot of downtowns that, when the businesses don't all have uniform hours. And, right now we don't have a downtown organization kind of like Concord does, or, that functions. And we've talked about whether that would make sense to form sort of some kind of organizations to give the business a voice, and also maybe to encourage them to have similar operating hours or something like that. I think they're open to, I would say in general, most of them are open throughout the week. But it varies by individual business. The bakery, for example, is right now open Wednesday through Saturday, but I've heard them say, well, if business picks up on the other days, they're willing to be open those other days too. So I think as more people come to downtown, these businesses will adapt accordingly.
Yeah, and I'm sure bringing more residential in there will adjust the hours too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you do any type of events to bring people? And I know with COVID, it probably hasn't really taken place yet, but do you have anything in the works to bring folks, kind of like Concord does with the Small Business Saturday? Do you have anything like that in the works?
Right now, we have left that largely up to the businesses, and particularly the leasing group, that they have essentially served as a downtown organization to do that function. So this last Saturday, they organized something for St. Patrick's Day, where they had like a beer tasting or something like that. And you could
I think it was like a craft crawl or something.
Yes.
I think I saw, yeah.
Yeah. So you could walk from store to store, I guess, and maybe sample something within the stores. So they organized that themselves. The city is talking about getting involved in some way, but I would say we've been very cautious because of COVID, that, we don't want to do anything that creates any risk for the residents and encourages too much gathering. So we've proceeded cautiously, and this group is probably moving a little faster than we are, and that's okay.
Irene, I had a question on that same note. When you're talking about activating the stadium with events or festivals, would that be the stadium, the city? Who would be driving that, do you think?
So the team, the Cannonballers team, runs the stadium. They have a lease, and they essentially are in charge of the stadium. So they are able to put on events. They're the ones who have, I guess, made the arrangement with UNC Charlotte and App State to put on that game next week. So they said they are planning to bring events to the stadium. Through the lease agreement, the city has, I think, use of the ability to put on an event ourselves up to either 4 or 6 times a year. If we want to do a festival or something like that in the stadium, we have the ability to do that. We haven't yet because of COVID, but that is certainly a possibility. And there's been, talks of even more simple things that aren't such a huge scale, like if there was a 5K through downtown, you can start and end at the stadium or something like that. And that wouldn't be that hard to organize.
Gotcha. And then can I ask you too, when you discussed the parking, are you guys, is the city gonna require that to be paid parking, or is that open? Or
yeah, we're actually going through that discussion right now, and it's kind of a thorny issue because on the one hand, we want to make parking easy for customers and visitors to downtown. And what's happening is, construction trucks are parking in the spaces that are meant for businesses. And also some businesses are parking there instead of their customers. And once the apartments open, our concern is that because the parking deck, the apartments will manage part of the parking deck, and they're going to charge their residents for parking spaces. So if they're going to charge the residents for parking spaces, we as a city probably have to charge something for downtown parking too. Otherwise, these residents are going to say, well, let's just park on the street for free instead of parking in the deck and paying, you know, the monthly fee. And then they're going to clog up all the downtown spaces that are meant for customers. So we're trying to manage this parking situation without becoming overbearing and inconvenient, particularly for the people we want, you know, to visit downtown.
Gotcha. I'll be interested to see how that plays out for you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing some of that too, I'm sure.
Yes.
Irene, I had one last question. If there's a way, is there any way we can connect, maybe via email or just to continue our conversation?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to add some of this information into the chat box, and I'll put my contact information there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So we've got about 3 minutes left. As I mentioned, this has been recorded, so we'll be able to, excuse me, share the recording, as well as we'll post it on the Cabarrus Center YouTube channel that we have, and it'll be within the Indeavor category in there, and we'll continue to record the next ones that we have. So next month, we actually have Johnson Bray, and I think Holly might be joining with him as well. And he's going to be speaking about the development and just things going on in downtown Concord. So if you're interested in joining, I'll send a follow-up email after this, thanking everyone for coming, including the link to this recording, as well as the registration link for next month's event. We do have one more event coming up next week as well it's called Accelerate Cabarrus, which is our meetup group. We are looking to just continue to grow the network around the Cabarrus Center, as well as within Cabarrus County, of all the fantastic resources and entrepreneurs that we have within this area. And Dr. Cam Cruikshank is going to be speaking at Accelerate Cabarrus next week. That'll be virtual as well. So I'll include that link if anyone's interested in attending that. But if anyone has any other questions for Irene, let us know. If not, thank you so much, everyone. And Irene, this was fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing all of this. As Peter mentioned, this is really great. As you know, you've been involved in all of this. It's fantastic for this area. And I was over there a couple weeks ago with you, and just seeing the growth and the energy and movement over there is really, really great. So thank you so much for all your hard work and for taking the time out to speak with us.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.